as soon as you pull a banjo out in an orchestra, everybody chuckles. Inevitably chuckles.
I mean, you play banjo and lead guitar?
Yeah, and a bit of banjo and electric and a little bit of acoustic. I moved over to Ireland 8 years ago, and then I pretty much only played like electric and acoustic guitar. And I got over here and I got a few gigs doing kind of trad stuff, and in the trad stuff there's a bit of like mandolin and banjo.
Who is it that you go up and play with in Belfast?
It's a band called the Russian Dolls, and I do a good bit with the orchestra too, the Ulster Orchestra, which is great.
Okay.
So yeah, I really like it.
Had you met Dave through the Ulster Orchestra at all?
I met Dave through Brian, and then met him through the orchestra.
And so what do you play in the orchestra then?
Banjo, surprisingly, yeah. They have like a lot of the old Broadway stuff is kind of written, because in the 30s the banjo was kind of as important to jazz as the saxophone, So even though as soon as you pull a banjo out in an orchestra, everybody chuckles. Inevitably chuckles.
So what was it like working with Jonna, and what was
It was great. He's a very sweet guy, And I was only there for sort of kind of a matter of hours, really, He hasn't done a lot of music before. He was really that kind of youthful enthusiasm that sort of came out, And the tunes were lovely, and anything that Brian is involved in, I'm up for, Like if Brian thinks it's good, so.
Exquisite Gift, I don't know if you remember that one.
Was that the one with the kind of, I think I remember Brian telling me to, it was one of the most bizarre requests I've ever had in the studio. Was that the one with the solo, kind of an electric solo in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Brian said, if you find yourself playing something nice, stop. So I ended up doing all these weird bends and stuff. It was very difficult. He was trying to get me to channel Mark Rebo, who's this kind of New York kind of, I don't know, is he avant-garde? I don't really know. He's quite a bizarre electric guitar player. It was like on a sort of, on a command, sort of forget about all that music stuff that you've done before and just like do something totally different. So I found that very difficult to do, actually. And that was a bit of a moment of sort of like head and hands sort of thing. So I enjoyed that track, actually. I enjoyed that.
I just thought the banjo really lifted the song,
Yeah.
Like
it's a nice instrument that kind of almost bubbles away in the background, If it's kind of doing just like a little constant thing, it can really. It kind of comes from that. I always think about it as coming from the kind of country bluegrass thing, So it kind of, whatever tune you put it into, it gives a little bit of a flavour of that, It's a lovely thing. It was, I hope he feels it was a worthwhile endeavour for him and his music and all that kind of stuff. And I hope he's happy with the results. Sorry about all the mistakes.